Everybody, welcome. Ralph Havens here. And this morning is a special Miracles, Magic, and Coffee session. Usually we have Dr. Tom G. Mateo on, but I've got a very important training thing to do this morning instead. So look for him next week at our usual time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 10:15 a.m. Pacific time actually. But today, what I want to give you is a gift session. And it's something that I usually only give to my one-on-one people. Sometimes we'll do it with the group sessions that meet once a month. But I want to give it to you because it's in a very important way, maybe the most powerful way I found to help manifest in life. And it's completely counterintuitive to what you might be told, or it might even be a bit scary to think that this doesn't sound like a manifestation technique. But I'm going to show it to you because it's really powerful. And first, I want to tell you a little story, as a little backstory of something, and then what I used this morning for myself, and what I'm going to give you in just a moment. So my whole life, I had a dad who was really a stepdad, but he adopted me when I was a young guy, a couple years old, and so that's my last name, Havens, and he was somebody I looked up to and feared, and he there was lots of stuff that wasn't good for sure, and lots of terror, lots of stuff that brought up a lot of anxiety, lots of not having any control in my life, and a lot of physical pain and emotional pain. And so, but I always thought he had the right ideas about stuff as a little kid. And as I got older, I started realizing, oh my God, everything is just so messed up here in the way he thinks and his worldview and just everything, even though there might be some truths in there. And so by the time I was in my 20s, I was in San Diego working as a physical therapist, and my mom and him, they called, because we called every so often, and she's like, you might want to come out here. I think he might be dying. And so I was like, oh wow, maybe I should go out, but then he got on the phone, and I just thought, he doesn't sound like he's dying, and he was saying stuff, but I was over him. It's like I didn't believe him anymore. I didn't trust him anymore. I didn't hold him in high regard anymore. I didn't value him anymore. He was kind of like a non-issue on so many levels. I mean, I had kind of just moved on, and so I made it very apparent to him that I wasn't going to come out, and I just wasn't interested anymore in being part of his world. And my sister ended up going out, but and he did pass away. I think it was pretty quickly after that, maybe just a few days, a week maybe, and it was a horrible death. Emphysema is not a good way to die, and and um and so this morning I was doing a powerful manifestation technique, and I'm going to walk you through it if you want to do it. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's really powerful, and and um and I'll be posting it in the Miracles, Magic, and Coffee link, so I'll put that in there later as well. And so as I was doing my technique today, I thought, what's the worst case scenario of stuff? And part of that is a manifestation of getting prepared. Like, you plan for certain things and you visualize the best case scenario, and then you visualize it, and you put it in your intentions and in your thoughts and in your incantations, your affirmations, and you feel into what it's like to have all that money and power and life and whatever you want, your health. You do all these manifestation techniques, right? Like the power of the mind, and power of visualization, and what you put in your mind manifests, and that sort of thing. So why would you put in your mind the worst case scenario? Part of it is then you can plan, like, what if this bad thing happened? Oh, well, I'd have plan B. And what if this other bad thing happened? Oh, I'd have plan C. And what if this happened? Oh, I'd have plan D. And so part of it is to be prepared, kind of like if you're going into battle, you prepare for all the possibilities. you have this plan, but what if it doesn't work? What if it fails miserably? You plan for other possibilities, and then when it happens, if it happens, the worst case scenario, you can have some plans, and maybe a new plan will show up, but you've considered it. So there's a real world way to think about stuff, and it's quite opposite from just thinking of everything's rosy and I'm going to just feel into this feeling of everything's rosy and good and abundant, and that's what I'm going to feel into. Because it's like Mike Tyson said, you've got a plan until somebody hits you in the face, and then all the plan is gone and you're just fighting for your life. And so if you could plan a little bit of some possibilities, you might have some ways to work around stuff when things go weird. Because one of the absolutes in life is things will go wrong, things will fail out, there will be failure, there will be problems. All the best people that have done anything great in the world have gone through lots of hardship and failure and had to figure it out. And so doing it ahead of time in your mind is one thing to do, but that's not the powerfulest part of this. So when I was doing it for myself, I'm going to show you in a little bit. So when I was doing it for myself this morning, I was like, well, what's the worst case scenario? If some things happen in the world, and what if some certain things fail? Right now we're in this lockdown, money's different, businesses are different, our world is different, your world is different. Who knows what's next? Is the lockdown going to get more severe next flu season? Is there going to be some mandates, some more martial law? What else is going on in business, in the world, and everything? And so I was working through different scenarios of like, well, we could move with our friends who are considering a different part of the country where we could just kind of be on the land again. We could do this, we could do that. I could work with this other coach. I could do this other project. I could do this thing. And I was working through it all. And then I thought, the worst case scenario for me would be kind of like what happened with me and my dad. If on my deathbed, I was a non-issue with my boys, with Ben and Baden, with my wife, with Jen. If it wasn't even that they were upset with me, but they were just, I'm just done. I'm done. I'm going to go live my life. I live somewhere else in the world, and I'm just not even going to show up, man. I'm not even thinking about it. And so I thought, oh my God, that's the worst case scenario. Just to be like, he didn't make it. He failed. All sorts of stuff happened. But worse than that, it wasn't even like my boys pitied me or my wife pitied me or like, was sad for me or anything, just like, but was like a non-issue, didn't care. So when I went with that, here's the technique. Then I went inside and I felt what it felt like. And I didn't try to run away from it. I didn't try to make it better. I didn't try to do anything to it. I just felt it. Now is the time. When you're about to die, there's no other now. There's no laundry list of stuff to do. There's no, I wish I would have done this differently or not. It's like, it's in the now, man. And so now is the time. Be here now. And so I sat with it and felt into it and just felt it and felt it and felt it and felt it. And stuff shifted. Because if you can get to peace with the worst case scenario, and then you're in the now. That's when real magic happens. And so if you want to use this process, it's real simple. It's basically think about what you want and your plans and all sorts of stuff. And then of course, stuff doesn't always work out, rarely works out the way you plan it. But start to consider worst case scenarios and plan B, plan C, plan D, kind of get to, go through all the different possibilities. So you're prepared, so you can do work, ahead of time. But then consider the worst of the worst case case scenarios. And then feel what that is. Feel what that feels like. And at that point, then you're out of your mind, you're out of your head, you're out of thoughts, you're in the now. And just sit with it. Just sit with it. Just be with whatever that feeling is. Just sit with it. Because there's all sorts of techniques that we've been going through with the Miracles, Magic, and Coffee, and how to let go of all sorts of stuff with hands-on techniques and other people doing techniques to you and all sorts of stuff. But when it gets right down to it, if you can sit with whatever this is, yeah, there's something that's priceless there. And letting that run its course, letting that be felt, the stuff that comes up into that void, into that space that's left over after that has been felt, is pure magic. Pure magic. And you can notice what you notice in your life that's different if you do this. It's a funny thing to do. It's not easy. It's not easy. Here you go. Here you go. Stay with that. It will run its course. It will be felt. It'll be done being felt. And then it'll be gone for good. And then notice how the world changes. What changes for you? This morning, what changed for me was Ben came down and told me a story. I'm going to have to go read it. A little kid story about some monsters that then realized they weren't monsters. It kind of was very appropriate. So I'm going to go read that later. Yeah, so let me know how this goes. This technique, along with the rest of my framework to clear stuff that's in the way of being happy, basically, letting go of anxiety, letting go of fears, basically being happy and healthy. Yeah, that framework is in a book that I have that you can have for free. It's at ralphhavens.com/end anxiety forever. And I really want people to get this because it's got the framework that I've used and it's got this in there. And you can use that framework with this video over and over again and clear whatever that is in you. And learn the rest of the stuff that I've got for you. So go ahead and grab that, ralphhavens.com/end anxiety forever. And let me know how this goes if you give it a try. All right, everybody. Next week, Miracles, Magic, and Coffee again. I've got a special training starting, so that's why we won't be on with Dr. Tom today. But this will be in the portal for that Miracles, Magic, and Coffee. And go ahead and grab that free guide, ralphhavens.com/end anxiety forever. And I will see you all soon. Bye now.